What is going on, everybody? Been a diehard Pistons fan since 2003 and starting to get very optimistic about this Pistons team. The Detroit Pistons just unfortunately lost a game to the Golden State Warriors by a score of 107 to 104. That snaps their 5-game winning streak and brings them back to exactly 500 on the season, 19-19. In this video, we are going to go through and highlight 3 key player performances from the night. And then we're going to talk about the game in general because it was unique in a lot of different ways. So the first player that we do need to highlight is going to be Cade Cunningham. He finishes the game with 32 points, 6 boards, and 8 assists. Also chipped in 3 steals and a block, 12 of 21 from the floor. He did have 4 turnovers, but all in all, Cade Cunningham was by far the engine for us tonight. Cade did everything he possibly could to put his team on the back and rally back from what was a pretty big deficit up to 15-20 points at times. And in the second half, Cade really just turned it on and got to work. Cade has had to take it upon himself to score the ball even more ever since Jaden Ivey has gone down, and compound that tonight with the fact that Tim Hardaway Jr. was unable to play. Cade really had to do a lot on the offensive end. He took 21 shots tonight. Beasley took 21 shots as well. And outside of that, nobody else on the team took more than 10 shots. So the offense ran purely through Cade tonight for the majority of the game. And the stretches of the game where we were able to climb and crawl back into the game after the big deficit was all just on the back of Cade Cunningham, well, being Cade Cunningham. He finishes the game with a +9 on the plus minus. In case you don't know how that works, that means that we outscored the Warriors by 9 while Cade was on the floor. And watching the game, that definitely checks out from what I saw. So all in all, a good enough game from soon-to-be all-star Cade Cunningham. Can't at all put this loss on him. He also did a great job of forcing the offensive rebound when there was 4 seconds left by throwing the ball off the front of the rim, hitting the backboard, which gave us a chance to actually go to the bench and drop play due to the ref's inadvertent whistle. But he's pretty good at that. I know it didn't work out, but that's not the first time this year that he has had to intentionally miss a free throw, and he has done it to perfection. He does it really quick. Right once the ref passes him the ball, he just chucks it up there and kind of fakes it like he's almost gonna, go into his full free throw routine, but doesn't. And just kind of a cool, very, very Easter egg-ish type of skill that Cade Cunningham has in his bag, that intentional missed free throw. So moving on, the next player on this list is going to be Malik Beasley. Malik Beasley, of course, missed the game-tying shot that would have sent this into overtime, but I had to shout him out here because he just has a lot on his plate right now without Ivey and Hardaway as well. As I mentioned, he took 21 shots, as did Cade. Nobody else on the team took more than 10. I don't know if that's exactly what we want, but what I do know is Beasley is not scared to step up and play a major part in the offense when he has to. He finishes the game with 21 points, 4 boards, and 2 assists, and just had to shout him out here. I know he missed the game-winning shot, but he definitely was a big part of the reason why we were able to be in this game in the first place. So moving on, the last guy that I do need to shout out is going to be Jalen Duren. Jalen Duren finishes the game with 8 points, 12 boards, and 3 assists. He also had 2 steals and 3 blocks. And I felt like it was a relatively good game for Jalen Duren. He finishes the game with a team-high +13. And there was a lot of cool things that he did in this game, especially right at the start where he actually took it upon himself to initiate the fast break and transition early in this game. One of those plays led to a wide open free dunk for himself, and another one of those plays actually led to him throwing a lob pass for an alley-oop dunk to Cade Cunningham. Normally we see that connection the other way around, so it was cool to see Jalen Duren put on display a little bit of his ball handling chops because he's done that before in the past, and I felt like he did a bit more of it last year under Monty. He does show some promise. It can force a turnover pretty quickly when he does do that, but when it does work out like it did tonight, it looks pretty good and can be a whole other wrinkle to this team if Jalen Duren is really able to start to push the ball in transition and lead the fast break at a more consistent rate and have it look like it did tonight every night. So all in all, a good game for Jalen Duren, especially considering how he has played over the past couple of games. I really wanted to shout him out here because I think game by game, day by day, Jalen Duren is looking better than he did at the start of the season. And I think that is a super impactful thing for this team overall. So to talk about this game in general, it was kind of a tricky one and an odd one because out of all things that I thought would have put the Pistons in a bad place tonight was Steph Curry going nuclear. But he did exactly not that. Steph Curry finishes the game with 17 points, but he was 2 of 14 from the three-point line. So if you would have told me before this game started that Steph Curry would shoot 2 of 14 from the three, I would assume that meant the Pistons win. Well, it didn't tonight because they did not need Steph. They were able to knock down shots without him, and they just were outplaying us defensively for a better part of the game. During that point in time, when they were really clamping up, forcing turnovers, and getting out transition themselves, the Pistons got down to like 15, 20-point deficit at one point, and I thought the game was over. I had texted a few people and said, well, that was fun, whatever, game's over. And then right after that, in the last 6 minutes, the Pistons charged back and gave themselves a chance to win. Now, there's a lot of different ways you can look at that. Personally, what I'm going to take away from it is that it's just encouraging to me that the Pistons, without Hardaway, without Ivey, down 20 against the Warriors, above 500, still had fight in them to come back and crawl their way back into this game and give themselves a chance. Because, I mean, down 20 to the Warriors is a pretty good time to give up, or chance to give up, where I think they, in the past, maybe would have. So it was nice to see them show some fight, and there still was a lot of good things that happened tonight outside of what I've already mentioned. One thing that comes to mind is Ron Holland did shoot the ball really, really well to start the game. He finished the night 3 of 8 from the three-point line, which I'm almost certain is the most threes that he has made in an NBA game so far. But towards the end of the game, he got into a little bit of a shouting match. I don't even know what you would call it, a scuffle with Draymond. No pushes or shoves or throwing or anything like that, but they were going back and forth at each other. And then after that, he took a few ill-advised threes, kind of brought his percentage down, but was encouraging to see him knock down a couple of those. Ausar, also 1 of 1 from 3. So if you guys have been paying close attention to the two guys who have not showing a lot of promise shooting the ball, well, tonight they were a combined 4 of 9, which can be an encouraging sign. So on to the Raptors on Saturday. Not too worried about this loss. At the end of the day, the NBA season is 82 games. We are still well on pace to achieve our goals for this season. So this loss doesn't rattle me too much at all. It was just kind of a unique game. They had a chance to win it. So what more can you really ask for? I'll catch up with you soon.